Welcome to episode 8 of Platform. Today we're going to be speaking to Jon Fromm. As many of you know, Jon Fromm rode for Razors for many years. He was on Valo first and then, joined the Razors AM team just in time to film a section for Children of the Future. Since then, he's been AM for several years and turned pro in, I think it was around 2017. But earlier this year, he announced that he was quitting the Razors pro team, which was quite a surprise because, like I said, he has been loyal to the brand for many years. Since that time, a few people wondered what was going to happen to him, if he was going to join another brand, who he was going to skate for, what skates he was going to ride. And a few months ago, he got picked up by Adapt and he's now on their pro team. He also got a pro frame from 50/50. I've been speaking to Jon Fromm on and off over the past couple of years, and I know that he hasn't always been happy at Razors and hasn't felt that they fully supported him. But when I spoke to him at Winter Clash, even though he'd paid for his own flights and accommodation and everything to go over there to represent the book company, he was still pretty much positive about his situation there and he was still willing to make it work. He's not really the type of person to speak negatively about a company that he rides for or slag them off in any way. In fact, even since he's left Razors, he's been generally quite positive about the whole experience. So I just wanted to speak to him about what went wrong with Razors, why he decided to leave in the end and what prompted that. What he's been doing with himself since, talk about his new frame from 50/50 and what his plans for the future are. So before we get into that, cue the music.
The platform. The platform. The platform. The platform.
How are we this morning? I can't believe
good,
how
man.
punctual you are. This is the mark of a true professional. I said 10 a.m. and at 10 you're like, I'm ready. Let's do this.
This is every day for me because I have to get up every day for meetings. So
Right, okay.
kind of normal. So not an issue.
I feel kind of bad getting you up early on a Saturday. Saturday's supposed to be the lie-in day.
Nah, this is like me and my girlfriend are usually up, so it's not a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah. How's everything with you?
I'm good. It's Saturday night here technically. So after we've done this, it's beer and pizza night. So I'm incredibly excited.
Nice.
So if we could
How's
just
the
wrap this
weather
up
out
really
there?
quick, and you have to give really short answers so that we can just get out of here and this can be done. Yeah.
Pressure's on, man.
You get 15 minutes, right? The weather is horrendous here. We've not been able to, we tried to street skate on Wednesday and it hadn't rained that day, but it rained the day before and it was so cold that the ground was just like slippy, soggy mess. So we tried like 4 spots and even an undercover spot and then just gave up. We
I think
don't
the whole time.
we
I
don't
think
have
the
the
whole
luxury
time
of
that
living in California.
That's true. But I think the whole time when I was in Scotland for like the week or 2 weeks I was there, I think I went outside one day. I think. I don't know.
When
But I
you're-
remember, do you know, like Unit 23 is kind of like a hole. I don't know
Yes.
so like when you live there or when you stay there, there's no windows except above you. And like, that was really like screwing with me. Like I wouldn't wake up some days till like 4 in the afternoon. Like it was really bad, man.
It's
That
like
was
being in a bunker, yeah. It's like being in one of those like insane people's end of the world bunkers, yeah. Plus, you've got no reason to go outside. Everything you need is in unit. They've got a kitchen. They've
That's
got
true.
essentially 2 skate parks because they've got the 2 halls, and then you can party there. So you've got everything you need.
I'm there. That was a lot of fun.
Did you guys not go hiking when you were there? No, Quinny usually takes people up into the hills. The weather might have been terrible.
No, we didn't. I think Carson like scaled a wall or climbed, you know what I mean? He does like that rock climbing stuff.
Okay.
I think he went out and like did some rock climbing stuff on his own. But I didn't, the only time I left was we did like a trip for the campers and we went to like a bunch of like random skate parks like around
Right.
Glasgow. That's the only time I remember like leaving the skate park.
We went. We went out drinking one night. We went to a bar one night.
Yeah, like really late at night though, I think.
Yeah, that
Well,
is true.
maybe it wasn't that late. Maybe I just thought it was that late.
I think it was pretty late. I'm pretty sure we were there till like 2 or 3.
Yeah. I just remember like we would all get in that van, that unit van, and Quinny would drive us, and I'm like, really? Like I'm putting my hands in Quinny right now?
Oh, so I'm pretty sure he just got his license then, because
Oh, that makes me feel so much better now.
he used to do this really annoying thing where we'd go to sessions, and if I was filming someone and I wasn't paying attention, he'd like take my car keys and go and start the car at the car park and like just move it just a little bit just to freak me out because he didn't have his license. And I was like, I don't find that funny. You're scaring the shit out of me. So yeah, that was one of these little
It
party
might have been
tricks.
Quinny or it might have been one of the BMXers. I don't really remember, but it was fun. All the less, I had a great time there.
So it's been an eventful year for you. This is the second time we're speaking this year. I'm excited, John.
Yeah.
Although I'm
When
more
was the
sober
first?
this time. I'm more.
Was the first time Winter Clash?
Yeah. Well, apart from
Yeah.
our little text flirting that we do over the,
Right. Yeah.
occasionally. Um,
Crazy. Winter
yeah,
Clash
yeah,
seems like so far away now. Like
it does.
it's insane, man. That's the last time we've all of us have pretty much traveled internationally. I'm pretty sure most of us, I'd say, blading wise. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that. Yeah, so bizarre. But getting to that, since that time, pretty much everything has changed for you. So got a pro frame with your name on it,
Uh huh.
the From Pro frame. Got another pro wheel. I think that was announced just before Winter Clash or just after. Can't remember. For Red Eye
I maybe both. I don't know. We
around that
kind of
time.
leaked some stuff like around Winter Clash, but then like it really came out after because it was supposed to come with. Well, it did come with they did like a pro frame bundle with 50/50, but yeah, like I think it was like a little bit after Clash.
Right. And then you jumped ship, which I was like, I'm not going to lie, I was quite shocked by because when we were at Winter Clash and we were talking about this, and I was actively encouraging you to quit Razors then. I was like, you need, like, because you basically said you'd paid to fly out there on your own, you'd paid for your own accommodation, paid for entry into the event. And I was like, what is the point in having a sponsor if you're like paying for all this yourself? And I'm pretty sure you said they were going to give you money back for your entry fee, maybe, or something.
No, actually, what happened was Red Eye wound up covering like my board, and actually, I did get free entry from them because Red Eye had a booth, so you get like a couple riders, for having a booth. So that was luckily taken care of, and luckily Red Eye is ran by my good friend Buck, so he's always kind of has my back, so he helped me out. But yeah, other than that, that's I paid for everything
So
else to get
Razors,
out
yeah,
there.
Razors didn't cover anything. I remember we were at the
No.
bar and you were still being pretty positive about it, being like, oh yeah, I'm going to try and make it work. And I was just like, you're paying all this money to market a company that are not supporting you. But you were still being like, oh yeah, I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to stay with them. So what changed?
Let's see. It's funny. I mean, like, I'm not saying that I was like fronting you when I was in Winter Clash. Like, believe me, my like opinions and my issues with Razors were still going on at that time. But as like someone who's sponsored by them, I would not show that because, I'm not there to complain and be upset. I'm there to support rollerblading and help in any way I can. And, it's actually funny because I was talking to Buck about this the other day, and you were kind of the beginning of where thoughts were changing because we kind of developed like a little joke at Winter Clash. And it was so, Razors announced Derek skate, which was super sick. Like, I'm really hyped that he got a skate. They hadn't done like a real new US pro in a long time. So they announced that, and it seemed like, it started out like one or two people were coming up to me and going, "Oh, like, are you the next like pro skate?" Like, and I'm just like, no, nothing's really planned. And it started to get to like 5 and then 10 people. And then it's at one point, like we were at the booth and Buck got like another guy talking to him, and he just calls out to me like I'm like maybe 10 feet away from him, and he goes, "I got 15, John." Like, and so like I think by the end of the night, by the time we had talked to you, it was up to like 25 people who were like asking that same question that I was getting the next pro skate from Razors. And it was like this big inside joke we had.
An inside
And
joke
yeah,
that made you, that
and
was making you cry. It was
a
becoming
little
less
bit,
and
yeah,
less
I
funny.
guess, yeah. But yeah, so like that was somewhat the beginning. To really like understand it, you have to kind of like understand how Razors kind of has been treating their riders the last like 5 years, I'd say. Um, and I know you've had like other riders on your show, and I know you've talked to a lot of people, especially like Quinny and stuff. So I know a lot of things inside. But it's just, I feel like one of the things that Razors has always been good at is kind of keeping us confused, like the riders. And that was kind of becoming very apparent for me, especially after Winter Clash. Like I had no idea where I stood. I just felt like I was just a flow rider, basically. Even though they, given me pro status and they've been flying me to places, um, I just didn't know what was going on, and it was kind of frustrating. And then a month after Winter Clash, we had Powwow, and that was like basically Powwow was like when it ended, we went into quarantine like a day after. So that was the last like hurrah basically for a rollerblading event of the year, and we had to keep it in secret. We weren't allowed to like post on social media. But again, I flew myself down there. Red Eye covered and 50/50 covered pretty much everything for me, which was really cool. And we had like a cool Airbnb. It was all like the Red Eye team and everything. And about 2 weeks before, I like gashed my shin at the skate park, like bad gash, like 10 stitches. I didn't think I was going to even be able to skate. And so, went out there, skated, did what I could with a banged up shin. And like I wound up making the finals, and I was like, that's cool. I'm excited because I actually skated decently, and like, I'm not really 100%. And I was just like sitting on top of the deck at the skate park Kona. And I'm just looking down and I'm going, man, like, why am I still skating these skates? Like they don't care about me at all. Like I have 9 stitches in my shin. Like they probably won't even post a clip of me from this event. And sure enough, like nothing was ever posted, or even like hey, thanks for killing it out there, even like with your injury and stuff like that. Like I didn't even get a thank you. So those little things that I'm kind of outrageous to expect that, but I felt like, if I'm going to go out there and represent your company and put in all this money, like at least I should get a thank you. Um,
Yeah, I
and
don't
that,
think it's asking too much to repost clips or even just say, "Hey, you did well out there, this weekend," because that's it's it, as the company that you represent, it's their job to keep you motivated. Like they don't have to kiss your ass all the time, but if you're out representing their products and promoting their products, the least they can do is be like, "Oh, hey, good job," because in your real job, that's what your boss does. You do a good job, they congratulate you on it.
yeah. And so after that, I was just super conflicted, and I didn't really like know what to do. I'd been having issues for years. I mean, like the past year and a half, like I wasn't getting any love on social media. I think Stefan touched on this in his podcast, and me and him had been texting pretty regularly about it, and we were upset and frustrated. But Stefan was just done. He like left, and you know, more power to him. He stood up for himself. I, on the other hand, decided to just let them kind of go with it for another year or 2 years. I was like, I appreciate everything they gave me. And right enough, like, I mean, I was appreciative, like the fact that like they're still giving me all this stuff and helping me in, some ways I was appreciative. But it gets to a point where like you're doing all this promotion, you're doing all this work, and I'm putting out sections every year, and like I'm literally not even, it didn't seem like I was valued. And every time I would talk to any of the guys on the team, they all more or less felt the same. Like they just, not so much that they weren't valued, but they were confused. They had no idea like what was going on. And I think some of them were just like grateful they were still getting skates, and that was definitely a feeling I had. But this level of confusion was just getting like super frustrating. And so actually, I'm kind of I'm really off with my timelines right now. But before Winter Clash, I actually had a meeting with Andy to just discuss like a lot of things, like the team, like Instagram, all this kind of stuff. And we sat down, and the first thing we discussed was like Andy was like upset because Raphael, I'm so bad at his name, but he's so amazing. Concalves
or Concalves
Yeah,
or something. Yeah, I know who you mean.
I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, and I do apologize, Raphael. But he had just left Razors. I guess they were doing some mini tour with him and Victor Dom down in South America. And, I guess Andy helped him with the flights, but Raphael wanted, some help with food or something, something not too crazy, but Andy couldn't help. And, Raphael was pissed, and, Andy was like, everybody just expects too much. And so I was like, all right, I guess that,
How dare you expect food?
yeah, again, I don't know the terms of their deal and all that
Yeah.
stuff, but yeah, I was like, okay, that's it's already like a weird situation now I like what I want to discuss with you is already kind of on a bad note. So we talked about the team, and we talked about like what we're going to do in the future, and like he really didn't have like real answers for me. He like was raving about how good the Instagram was, and I was just like sitting there going, I completely disagree. Like everyone says like we need to do better with our marketing and the way we like, go about, getting products out. Like I think some people can attest to this, but like the Shift 2, that was a pretty poor display of like a new product. We didn't really have a promo. We didn't really do anything for that skate.
Yeah,
And
I don't remember anything coming out. I remember it just appearing in shops one day.
yeah, and so I offered that skate dropped 2 Winter Clashes ago, from the one we were both just at. And at the time I said to him, hey, like let's do something. Let's film something at Winter Clash. And I just kept getting in like clashes with him and Jeff about who was going to be in it. Like it kept just being like, oh, add this person. Oh, don't add that person or this person. And then it just got to a point where like, okay, I'm not even going to bother with this. This is like way too complex. Like, I'm doing this, out of my own heart just to kind of get something. And it just didn't really come to fruition. And yeah, we had no promotion for that skate. And I felt like that was kind of not the best way to do things. And that skate did not sell well. I mean, I think they still have Shift 2s in stock. I'm not really sure because I haven't been around Razors in 7 months, but that skate did not sell like they anticipated. And it's really unfortunate because that was their marquee skate. And so me and Andy talked about that, and he was like, he just thought it was like based on because of the fact that the SL was so cheap now that the SL was selling better. And I said that could definitely be a part of it, but I also just think like people prefer the SL. It's the skate you've created. It's the skate that you've, tested and tried, and everyone likes it. So, that's why I think it moved better than the Shift, but we just couldn't see eye to eye on that. And then at the end of the conversation, I just flat out just asked, I was like, hey, like, I've been riding for you for 10 years. What do you want to see from me, or what do I have to do to get a pro skate? That's like one of my goals. I want to achieve this. so tell me what, you want me to do. And his first like response was, well, Jon, you're not Aragon or Shima. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah,
Thank you for
that's
noticing
true.
that. I'm
That's true.
I'm
Yeah.
aware of that too.
100%. Like, yeah, I'm definitely not either of them. And he just kind of like, he went on to basically, he was trying to come up with things as to why I couldn't be deserving of one. And he immediately went towards like the contest. He's like, you've never won like a Winter Clash or a Blading Cup. And I'm like, Derek hasn't either. I think he just got like second or something.
Also,
I mean, not that it matters, but
yeah, since when does winning competitions equate to skate sales and popularity? Like most skaters that have pro skates tend to not even compete.
it was a very strange conversation. And I was like, okay. And then he kind of pointed out like towards something about like me not being unique enough. So, hey, that's a valid, those are your opinions, and you run the company. But he wouldn't quantify or like just say like, hey, if you do more of this, we could definitely talk about, you know, something in the future. He wouldn't even go there. So I took that conversation as, I don't think he really believes in me anymore. And I don't think I think he likes what I do for the brand, but not enough to where he would put a name on my skate or just do more with me in terms of promotion, which is what honestly, that's all I really wanted, was just to feel more a part of the team. And it just never happened. And I just kind of was talking with people, like, I mean, not just you, like, you were talking earlier about, telling me to quit Razors. It was all my friends, like my good buddy Brandon, who films a lot of my stuff. He was like, dude, you need to get off this. You're wasting your time. Friends out in San Diego are just like, they're taking advantage of you. And I just couldn't see it for so many years. My girlfriend said it. My girlfriend's met Andy and was like, you need to get away from this guy. Like, and even my dad, that was the best one. My dad was like, this guy is taking advantage of you for so many years. Like, so I think once like my dad said it, and my dad, like, I know he doesn't know a lot about skating, but like my dad's a businessman. Like, he's a big shot when it comes to that kind of stuff. So he saw right through it, and he kind of like was like, if you have another opportunity, take it, because you can't just sit around and like let people dictate your life. And that's kind of what I did. I just sat here one day and I was like, you know what? Everybody's right. Like, I need to focus on my happiness and not continue to just think about Razors and the brand. I need to like do what's right for me. And that's what I wound up doing. So,
it does beg the question, because you told me about that meeting, not that long after it happened, and said that
yeah,
it got to a point where you were struggling to even get skates. Like, you would ask for a pair of skates and they wouldn't come, and you'd end up having to go down to the warehouse and stuff like that. And the whole time I was just thinking, but they turned you pro. It's not like anyone forced their hand. That was their decision. They
yeah,
chose to move you up in the ranks. And if they don't think you're pro material, that's fine. They're entitled to that opinion. But don't turn someone pro and then just leave them to hang in purgatory. Don't be like, and then if you have the audacity to say, how can I make this situation better or make myself more valuable to you? It kind of sounds like they're saying, well, we don't consider you to be valuable. But if they don't, why did they turn you pro?
it's kind of the like age old question that I've never been able to answer, because they decided this in 2016. Like, my pro edit came out August 2017. But in 2016, at the end of the year, Jeff, I'll never forget the day, because it was a great day for me. Like, I was at Poway Skate Park and I met up with Jeff, and he's like, hey, I need to talk to you in the parking lot. And I was like freaking out. I was like, oh, they're going to let
I'm
me
getting
go. Like,
sacked here.
yeah, that's what I thought. And he's like, hey, like, we just decided, like, we want to turn you pro, you and Howie Bennett. And I'm like, okay, like, what? Like, I was like, super shocked. And, even at the time, like, he said to me, like, this does not guarantee you, money. It doesn't guarantee you a pro skate. We're just we want to go in a new direction and we want you guys to be like at the front. So I'm like, I was super hyped. And then, a few months later, Garrett came. And then 3 months after that, it was Stefan. So like we built this, this new pro squad. And it's like you said, it's so unfortunate. Like they did really nothing to push Howie. Literally, like I couldn't even like, I don't even think I saw Howie after that edit that he dropped. I don't think I've seen him
after the pro introduction thing,
like,
he had
and I don't think I've
a
seen
couple
him.
of clips, and Ian Walker had a thing, and he had, I think it was maybe last year or the year before, and he had like a couple of really tame like nighttime clips, and I think they were in a skate park, and that was it. No
Mint
one's,
skate. I think Jeff sent him the Mint SLs.
I don't even remember what it was, but literally that pro introduction came out, and then we never heard from him again.
Yeah. And it was sad because like, I mean, fuck, like I thought Howie was going to be like, if there was anybody like on the Razors, like, well, I mean, not just like his skating, obviously skating, but his like, just his marketing, like who he was, like the kind of skater he was. He was super marketable, and like
they could have totally ran with that, because he was he had all the kind of hallmarks of like a John Elliott, or like he had that kind of individual, like lone kind of stranger protagonist thing going on, that they could have totally marketed the shit out of that, but they didn't.
And I remember the last time I'd spoke with him, I was like, has Andy talked to you about a skate? And he was like, yeah, he's like, I just told him I wanted it all black. And then he didn't really hear anything after that. So I don't know, like, if there was ever discussions about it, but I was always really shocked. Cause after like all of us were like kind of turned pro, I thought for sure Howie was going to be the first one to get a skate. Cause they were like all in with him. They really had like developed him and, and helped him really grow the brand. And then it just it was weird. Like everything just kind of went silent for a couple of years. Like we started developing the shift, and then the whole consensus around Razors was like, we weren't doing pro products anymore. That wasn't a
Andy
thing.
did that interview in BMAG where he basically said that's not going to happen, which I was like, that's got to be disheartening for people on the pro team, because you think if you get bumped up to pro, that suddenly becomes a possibility for you.
And to be honest with you, I didn't really think about it for the longest time, because I really like was more focused on just being a part of Razors and helping develop the shift, and like, doing, things that I thought, could really help not only like like the brand, but also just rollerblading as a whole. Like in theory, like the shift was a really remarkable design if it worked. Like, I mean, the fact that you were able to like change out from your free skates to your aggressive skates that fast, if it would have worked how it was intended, that would have been a game changer. Like, I mean, going around cities and going spot to spot, like that would have been great. Unfortunately, when there were issues arisen with the skate, Andy really couldn't change the molds, and that really was a huge hinder on not only sales, but just like the overall impression of the product. First it was the negatives now need 2 holes in them so that the sole plates don't pop off. And then it was
kind of disturbing when you're seeing pro skaters ride them in videos, and then the frame is snapping off. Like, I'm sure I've seen at least 2 separate videos where Corey's been skating and the frame has flew off his skate. I'm pretty sure there's one of Quinny as well in Cayenne Project where it just disappears. That is awful, like awful aesthetics for the brand.
And the thing for me that was the worst was the toe box. They made the toe area a bit too narrow, and everyone, I mean, I think everyone who has skated the shift will attest, like it's super narrow, and it kind of like gives you this pain on like your outside of your foot. And unless you have super skinny feet, it's just like really, really, really painful. And I could put them on for like 30 minutes and then I'd just get pain. But I stuck through it for a while because I was like, this is the only skate they want me to skate, as Stefan alluded to in his podcast, like they were pushing the shift. That's what they wanted us to skate. And then over time, it just kind of like, it just got weird, man. Cause like they came out with the Mint And I was like, okay, do you want me to do anything with the Mint? No, we have Greg Preston doing a Mint promo. And I'm like,
Does
oh,
at the,
okay.
that was kind of weird because I remember that, and Greg Preston started putting up clips, and I was like, Razors haven't even mentioned you being on the team or being Flow and then he released Boltless Future, and I was like, well, this video's cool, and Greg has got a good eye and makes interesting projects, but there's still been no clarification that you have anything to do with Razors other than them putting that out. It
And
was
I love
so
Greg.
strange.
I like his skating. Like he's a great guy, amazing filmer. Um, I was just like, it was just a shock because I had no idea he was like skating for Razors. So then I talked to him and he was like, yo, yeah, they're helping me out. He's like, let's work on something or whatever. And we would just talk back and forth and nothing really came out of it. And then I remember one day he like hit me up and was like, yo, does Andy like help you with your travels? Like he just asked me and I was like, nah, not really. Like I've been kind of self-supporting myself the last like couple years. And he was just like upset. It seemed like he was just like upset that I said that. And it was like 2 weeks later, I think he was skating them skates or something like that. So I don't know if I influenced his decision or he was already on his way out. But yeah, that kind of whole thing happened with the SLs. And then, they came out with the black SL and a bunch of other ones. And I just decided at that point, I was like, I'm going to go back to the SL because this is what I like to skate. And, I don't want to skate this shift anymore. And they weren't really like pushing the shift. And, so I went back to the SL and skating that for a while. And then it was so weird. I was in China. I got like flown out to some random event last year in China. And I'm there with like all the Russian guys, like Ilya Savicin, Kirill Kochikov. I can't forget the other guy's name. I think it's Ivan. Oh man, I'm blanking right now. He's like a really good rider for Razors.
I think I know what you mean.
And they
Ivan
both
is he second name begin with K? Ivan? No.
might be.
Yeah.
He's really good park skater. He actually won the event I was at.
Right.
But both him and I think Ilya had him too. Both had Krill's skate, and like Krill's skate had just kind of came out, and I was like, and he was like, "Why aren't you skating them?" And I was like, "Oh, they won't give them to me." And he was like, "What do you?" He was like so confused, and I was like, "Yeah, like they only gave the Krills to their list, and the list was
this. I remember because I remember several people I've been like, oh man, bet you're looking forward to getting those skates. Like they look really cool and different for Razors. And they were like, yeah, I'm not getting a set. Like I've been told I can't have them. And multiple people told me that. And I was like, what the fuck is the point in being on the team if you can't get the skates?
I went to the warehouse and like when I got back from China and I was just talking to Jeff and I was like, oh, like what's up with these? Like, could I skate them and make a little promo for Krill? Because Krill's a good homie. I've been friends with him since we were on a wheel company a while back. And I was like, I'd love to just like promote his skate. He's a great guy. And he's like, oh, well, there's this list that he picked of people that get him. And it was like Broom, Henderson, and Jeff Howard. And then it was like 3 people in Europe. And it was like Quinny, Dom, and I think, what's the guy from Denmark? Super steezy dude. Oh my God.
No.
Not he always skates with Jonas. Oh my God, I'm blanking. He's so good. Oh fuck. I have it on the tip of my tongue. Oh my God. I'm such an idiot for forgetting his name.
Jonas Hansen. He skates with Jonas Hansen.
Yeah, Jonas has made him like a bunch of edits. King Mott's, but it's not Mott's.
Oh, I know you mean like the stylish sled guy. Yeah, that ended. Yeah, I do know who you mean. No, the names escape me as well.
I'll find it. It's right here. Got this dude's name because he's so good, and I love his skating.
He does all like the spinning slides, and yeah, I remember. Of
course, I can't find it when I'm Malte Husted, yeah. Malte, yeah. Malte is really sick. So like they gave him that skate too, but I was just confused because it didn't really make sense. And then I had spoken to Krill about it, and I was like, oh, like, yeah, I'm like bummed I didn't get him. And Krill was like confused. He didn't understand what was going on. So I don't know where that list thing came from. I'm not sure if that's an Andy generated thing or
Also,
Krill really did.
it seems a
So
strange thing for the company to say that, because since when is a pro skater in charge of who gets a skate and who doesn't? When has that ever been a thing? Like, they don't call the shots, like the company does. So it's
yeah,
down
I
to the
mean,
company to decide who gets the skates.
and what was weird, I mean, I'll give Razors the benefit of the doubt. They only made like 300 or 400 of them, very limited run. So I understand you have to limit your riders because, you know, you want to sell the skates. Totally understand that. However, I think like you have, you know, 8 pros on the team. I think the best thing to do is have all the pro riders repping a fellow teammate's skate. I mean, that's like the best. Like when my 50/50 frame dropped, the best things I saw were like when Stefan and Yandrell and Matt Lyon and all those guys were skating my frame. You know, that was, and Scott Crawford, like that was incredible. You know, like that makes me more juice than, you know, just watching me skate them. So, you know, I think it's an honor to skate someone else's pro skate. And that's why when I offered to do the thing for Krill, I was like, yeah, I want to support the guy. But they just didn't feel like that was valid or valuable anymore. And
What's
hey, you
even
know,
stranger about that is they put out nothing for that. Like that skate came out, there was no pro skate promo. And then like it felt like months later you saw Kirill just doing random like park Instagram clips on them, and it was like, where since when are we releasing pro skates with no promo?
it was definitely a super weird, you know, the whole thing was super weird. And then, you know, we get to like when I left and I found out that like Derek, no one really got Derek's skate either. They just sold them to shops. Like no one got the skates to skate except Derek. And I thought that was kind of weird as well. Cause like I would, if I was not still on Razors, I would have wanted to support Derek, you know, like, cause
Yeah.
he's the man. So yeah, it was really, again, like it's a lot of frustrating factors. And at the end of the day, like if I have an overall impression of, you know, what they're thinking, it's they loved what I did for them in terms of promotion, but they didn't think I was cool enough or part of them enough to actually do something with me as a pro skater. And I wish Andy and Jeff would have been more forthcoming and more honest about that, because I could have definitely adjusted things and you know, it would have been better on both sides if they would have just been more upfront and honest with me about the situation. But, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, I left, and I think both sides are now hopefully in a better place. I see them pumping out tons of skates this year. Like they've pumped out, I think 5 different skates. So good for them. You know, and I'm happy with my situation. So, you know,
There are a few things that just don't make sense that I wanted to ask you about, because, and trust me, I do have other stuff to talk about other than Razors, but there are a few things that I just think a lot of people will want to know as well. Out of the 4 people that turned pro, so you, Howie Bennett, Derek Henderson, and Stefan Brando, 3 of you quit. Now that's kind of unheard of. Like it's kind of unheard. Like every new person they've turned pro has quit, apart from Derek Henderson. That just screams problem.
it's kind of, it's not, and it's not just those guys. Like, I mean, those are definitely a big part of it, but like the people that I look up and like I see as even more of an issue are the younger guys. Like they had Raphael, they had Ren Fujiwara on Razors. Like
He
they
was
had,
awesome, yeah. And
I
they've all
mean, they
just
had
changed, yeah.
so much potential. Like I would go when I went to Japan twice in the last 3 years, skated with him both times. And I remember talking with Kazu about this. Like like Ren is the future. And I was like, yes, like for sure. And like I was pushing Ren, and I was, I made a little edit of me in Japan, gave him like a little mini part. Like, dude,
Yeah, he's got
Ren,
the three Mizuta true fish down the rail.
oh
Like
my God.
so
That
many
was like
people
second
think he's the
try.
future. Like so many
Yeah.
people I speak to list him as someone that they're excited to see more of.
Kids, like when he skates with someone like me or Soichiro, he doesn't get intimidated, like he gets motivated, like it motivates him. And I thought that was like super like rad because, you know, I can see that this guy has what it takes to like really be something in skating. And he just like at the end of it, like I talked to the dude who ran the distribution for razors in Japan. Ren just like never heard from any of them, like nothing. And he wasn't really getting skates. Like he only got new skates because he flew himself to Winter Clash and then was able to get skates from Marco at the booth. So yeah,
Yeah,
super frustrating.
it's kind of telling that so many people, not just at the pro level at your level, but I can list at least 10 people in the last 12 months that are now either skating for other brands or just wearing other brands skates when they were associated with razors for years. Um, when you turned pro, and like was there were you given any like instruction or guidance on what was expected of you, or told what they wanted you to do, or was there any difference in the conditions from being an amateur? Like did you get anything different as a result of being pro? Because you said there wasn't any pay. So I guess my question is, what's the difference between being am for razors and being pro for razors?
Hey, David, I never was am for razors. They never turned me am.
So you went from flow to
I
pro
yeah, because
because
so
you were in the
oh
razors
man,
am video. You were in Children of the Future.
yeah, that's a whole nother yeah. So after that
I've heard all
video,
the stories about that, but yeah, well,
so I think you've heard like after that video, Razors went in this direction of like they wanted 5 pros, 5 AMs. That was like the US team.
right.
I wasn't selected to be an AM. They told me that like they brought all of us out there. That was when they had the house and and they were filming for the video and everything. And that was so called. I was told this by Sneaky because Sneaky was one of the guys who was turned pro from this. Was that it was a test to like see if we could handle the lifestyle of being a pro skater. And when I asked Andy about like turning AM, he just told me like I didn't fit the mold, and that like I didn't really like wasn't social enough when I was like brought out here, which told me that like he just wasn't happy with how I like didn't really party and stuff like that, which I'm like, dude, I'm here to skate. Like I'm not here to
Yeah, it's
like
like,
get
do you want me to
drunk
be
and
productive and get clips, or do
yeah.
you want me to be drunk out my face? And yeah,
Yeah.
that's a strange thing to say,
It was so weird. And
because around that
I
time, Julian got sacked for exactly like the opposite. Like they claimed that he partied too much and didn't skate enough, and that was the reason for getting rid of him. But even then, he was like, "I'm regularly
I was
getting
on that New
footage."
York. I was on that New York tour with him, and Julian
Ju-
skated the whole time.
Yeah, like I've never like I know Julian,
Now,
like I've met like, and
yeah,
his personality can turn people off, but the one thing you can never say about him is he doesn't skate enough. Like he is very productive.
whole trip, like we were in the same apartment. Like, I mean, yeah, Julian drank and did like his rap stuff, and he does his fun time for sure. But like, he skated every day. Like every day that I was there. Now I did miss 2 days of the tour, but he was like, when I heard that Mac told Andy that he didn't skate, I was shocked because I'm like, what? Like he skated. Now I did hear some stuff that like he didn't skate when he was living in California, but dude, every time I was out there, Julian skated every day I was with him. So I don't know where that came from. I really don't. Like I don't know like if maybe Julian rubbed Mac the wrong way and Mac got upset,
It
but
definitely
that's what I think.
sounded, yeah, it
That's what I
sounded like
think
more of
would
a
happen.
personality clash. Yeah.
But I mean, it was super strange, like that whole situation. But yeah, like I mean, going back to that, what we were talking about, like the 5 pros, 5 AMs, I wasn't selected to be an AM, and I just kind of shrugged it off. I just said I used that as motivation, and I was like, yeah, screw this. Like I'm gonna just like be better than this, and I kind of just kept like putting out content. And then I got a new job and I moved out to California. And then, yeah, it just kind of like happened. Like then Jeff just approached me and was like, yeah, we're going to turn you pro. So yeah, like nothing ever, they didn't tell me anything. Originally, they were just going to like announce that me and Howie were pro. And I was like, no, I don't want that. Like, I want to make an edit. Like, I want to make a proper section. So I took the time and took like 7 months and made the section, and I was hyped on it. But that was even a weird situation because they didn't tell me when they were going to drop it. So I gave him the edit, and like, he was like, oh, BMAG wants to do an interview. And I was like, okay. So I did an interview with BMAG, and then I'm in the middle of the Boschi Pope contest. I was in New York with just skating. And then the dude comes on the mic and he's like, yo, Jon Fromm's pro for Razors. Like they had just had announced it like on in the middle of like a contest on a Sunday afternoon. And like no one told me. And then I go in, and this is the thing that kind of upset me the most, is I go into the YouTube and he didn't put any of the like credentials, like who filmed it, the song, like the stuff, my homie who did all the titles, like, and I was just like, damn, like what the heck? And like, so I had to go in, like, luckily I still had access to the YouTube. I had to go in, put all the intangibles and everything, just so like the people that like put this all together, like could get credit.
Yeah. They don't feel as if you're just mugging them off, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little frustrated with that, because I'm like, dude, like, it's not just me. It's like a team helped me do this. So that was definitely like a weird situation. And yeah, like I never, after that, nothing was ever discussed. Like, Andy would be like, if I wanted to go somewhere, he'd like potentially give me a little bit of money. He gave me like $100 when I went to Hong Kong. He gave me like, he flew me to Mexico.
That's not going to go very far. Like,
no. Luckily my Hong Kong ticket was like $400, but like, I just got to a point where I was like, I just am happy to get something, something so I can go skate. But yeah, it was nothing that was ever discussed. There was no like, hey, you need to do this or anything like that. So super strange.
The whole thing that confused me about that situation when we were, messaging back and forth is you were one of the most productive people on the team at that time. Like after Stefan had quit, he was putting out a lot of content, but after he'd left, it was you and Jeff Howard were releasing the most content, because Curl hadn't had a section in years because he'd been hurt before. Like he'd had the one section in the Groovy Deed, but that came out shortly before the Pro Skate was announced. So they obviously already had it in production. Derek had his pro introduction section, and then that was it until he had the Pro Skate. So I think after getting announced pro, I think you had like at least 4 full-length sections. So at least one a year, more than one a year. And you had, how many Jet Lag Disciples did you guys do? 2, 3, 2? 2.
South Africa.
Right. So it's like it's not like you weren't giving them value for money. Like you were putting in the work.
Yeah, it was definitely like getting very frustrating. And another like thing that came about from all that is I began to like leave, I left ground control, for example. Like I wasn't ever really on ground control. That's a whole nother thing, and I can get into that a little bit too, is like when I was like, I wasn't even pro yet. I was still like flow or whatever. I was in Michigan at that, not Bitter Cold, the other one, Motortown. They called it Motortown Classic.
Motortown Classic, yeah.
Yeah. And I was with Keaton and Julian and Taylor Ritchie and Buck and, a couple other people. We all were like we just hung out together for the weekend. And what was funny is like Razors like paid for a booth, but like didn't bring anything. They didn't do anything for the contest. So like Julian just like decided to take, he had all this adapt stuff, and he just like put it all on this table, and like people were coming up, like they bought a t-shirt off him, bought like some some other adapt things, and it was like it was just so random, and like, and Buck looks at him and
He's
goes
making the
like,
most of the situation.
yeah, and Buck comes up to him and goes, "Damn, J-Bot, like you just took like the Razors booth," and like he just looks, he goes, "Yeah, man, that shit came full circle." And it was just like, wow, what is going on here? And that weekend, like that was when Keaton was like in charge of ground control, and he, like, we were at the airport about to go home, and he's like, "Hey, you've been doing a lot for GC. I'd like you to make a part, for the watch list or whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I made that, for him, and then couldn't get in contact with him. He wouldn't respond to any messages, like kind of went ghost. And about like 3 weeks later, this is like when I'm about to move to California, he sends me a message that like GC isn't doing the watch list anymore. And like, thanks for doing the edit, but we can't run this or whatever because we're not doing this. And I was just like, what the heck? I was so mad at Keaton, and I just went off on him. And unfortunately, that's the last time I ever talked to Keaton. So I feel bad, but at the same time, like a lot of people have told me the same thing. Like, it was just, Keaton wasn't in the best spot, unfortunately. But when I went and talked to Jeff and Andy about that, they just brushed it aside. They didn't really seem to care. They were like, "Oh, ground control is Keaton's, it's not ours." So that was like a really frustrating thing. And then, fast forward now 2 years after that, Joe gets, the ranks, and he's like the new GC guy. So I hit him up and was like, "Hey man, like, really hyped you're doing GC. Like,
Oh,
you want any help?"
You mean Yo Zink?
Yeah, yo,
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
I was like, who the hell
I
is
say
Joe?
Joe.
Right.
Yeah,
Yo
I say
Zink, got
Joe.
you.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And I was like, "Hey, if you need any content or whatever, I'll just let me know." And he just sends me a message like, "Hey, thanks, John." He's like, "Actually, like, I don't have you on the GC list, so can't really like support you or like put any of your content on the IG." And I'm like, okay, like that's kind of weird, but like, I mean, I understand like I wasn't pro for GC, but like, I thought I was like at least flow or whatever. And,
Yeah.
then I went and I talked to Jeff about it, and Jeff was just like, "Yeah, like, we have this list of people." It's always a list, David. Always a list.
There's always a list, and you're not
Always
on.
a
Yeah,
list.
you're
I've
never on the
never
list.
been on the list.
You're not getting into the club.
And he's like, "Yeah, we're going with this, and just to let you know, like, Razors riders cannot get ground control stuff anymore unless you're on ground control. We'll give you featherlight frames, but that's it, when you need them." And I was just like, okay, like this is just getting like the situation's just getting progressively like worse for me. And that's like how I started my relationship with 50/50. I had been like talking on and off with Law, and he just offered to send me frames one day, and I put them on and was like, wow, these are like, they're like ground controls, but better. So, then I moved forward with that. But that whole situation was like just another example of just the Razors was always putting me in this circle. And that's kind of what I wanted to get to, is that like, I feel like when they put us in a circle, they have more power because like they can kind of just deflect, like, "Oh, we don't have a decision. You have to talk to Joe about that. Oh, we don't have to do that. You have to talk to Jeff about that. Oh, that's in Europe. You got to talk to Marco." And it seemed like that was always happening to me. And I realized that like late this year. It's the first time I ever really realized it. So super strange.
Yeah, just like I said, it just feels really bizarre that in the past 12 months, so many people on so many different levels have left the brand. Like, yeah, Quinny leaving to get another job, especially considering he wasn't just riding pro for them. He was also doing, distribution in the UK, and I think he was managing the team as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, just so many other people. I also kind of wondered when Derek got his pro skate if he ever actually got any royalties for it, because after his pro skate came out, Greg Preston put a thing on Instagram thanking Derek and Matt from Intuition for paying for everything. So he basically said that all the costs incurred for the promo, like travel, food, everything, was covered by Derek and Matt. And the whole time I'm just reading this thinking, this is insane. Like, he's a pro for their company, releasing a pro skate for their company, and he's paying for the promotion. He's paying the expenses that a brand should be paying for their product. That makes no sense.
As far as I'm concerned, from the people that I've spoken with, I don't believe he got royalties. I don't think Krill got royalties on his skate. And I've heard that Nils didn't get royalties on his frame. I can't confirm these things. You'd have to talk to these guys individually and discuss that with them to get the full and honest answer. But that's what I'd heard, is that no royalties were given on those pro products.
That's what makes it even more mad. It's like, here's your pro skate with your name on it that you're going to pay for someone to film and edit, and then we're going to take all the money. And even if they don't sell, like, even if they don't make a lot of skates, like say 500 pairs of skates, if they made that, they sold out.
A little bit of like, it's a little bit of Andy, like, capitalizing on the fact that people are just so grateful the fact that they're getting a product with their name on it, that they don't think about those kind of things in terms of like royalties and payouts and stuff like that. But it's also on the skater to realize, like, hey, this company is using my name. I need to like stand up for myself and go, hey, like, if you're going to use my name, I need some kind of monetary compensation or some kind of contract, of what I'm getting out of this deal.
Yeah, because otherwise it's a completely one-sided situation where the skater gets nothing.
If this was me in this situation 9 months ago, I probably would have taken the same thing. I didn't really think about that until I got a pro frame and multiple pro wheels, because Red Eye and 50/50 were the first brands that said, we need you to sign this royalties thing. Like, this is, we're going to pay you out based on this. And I never had seen that ever in skating. So like, until that happened to me, I didn't even think about it. So again, it's not just on Andy. It's also on the skaters to realize like their worth and their value, and to stand up for themselves. Because I'm not saying that like rollerblading deserves to pay you. Like, I understand this is a very small industry. At the end of the day, they're just plastic boots on our feet. But know your worth. If you're putting in the time, you're putting in the effort, you know your value. I remember Bobby Spazoff saying that on one of his podcasts. He's like, knowing your worth is like one of the most invaluable assets you can have as a skater. And that dude understands his worth and his value. And you can see it in the decisions that he makes. So, I mean, for sure, like, it's unfortunate that some of these guys have been taken advantage of. Like I said, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it comes down to, like, I think more and more skaters on razors were realizing that, like, hey, like, I'm more valuable than what these guys I am. Like, I'm doing more than what I should. They expect me to be doing, and it's important that happened, because hopefully more skaters see that and they realize, okay, like, I need to skate for brands that are going to support me, or I'm going to like skate for myself and not worry about that situation like a lot of people have done.
I definitely think it's one of these things that is very, very slowly moving forward in terms of blading. Like, there's definitely more transparency, and a lot of that is thanks to companies basically being honest about the royalties that they're giving out. So, certain wheel brands will be like, oh, we're definitely giving this person $5 from every wheel, or them skates being like, this person is definitely getting this amount, because at least that way, when someone makes a purchase, and that's the only way you can really vote in this system, is with your wallet. If you make a purchase and you know that a certain percentage is going directly to that person, it's guaranteed, as opposed to other companies who will make you believe that you're supporting a pro skater by buying a certain product. But the skater might not benefit from that at all. The skater might get nothing. So hopefully what them and, I've seen BHC do it and Red Eye Wheels and stuff like that, and 50/50. Hopefully more brands see that and see that that's the way to win over customers, because customers want to support their favorite riders.
I hope I see it moving in the right direction now, and I hope that if a brand hasn't done that yet, I hope they take note and they do start to support their riders. And one of the things that I told one of my buddies here in San Diego is, I hope, if there's one thing that I hope with Razors that happens when I leave, is that they begin to take care of their riders better. Like, I hope maybe this helps propel it. Like, I hope to, like, dude, I really hope to see like a Broom skate, another Jeff Howard skate, maybe even a Jared Banning skate one day. Like, it's just, I want to see those things, because like those guys have all put in countless years of effort, and like they're all great guys. Like, they all deserve, you know, the spotlight. So I just hope, like, you know, I'm not trying to say this to be like a hero or anything. I'm just like saying that, like, when I left, like, I was definitely like, I remember texting Banning. I was like, I just hope they take care of you, dude. That's all I want, you know, and I can't sit back and just like do nothing anymore. So, you know, moving forward.
Moving forward, indeed. Let's stop talking about Razors, because we've talked about it way too long.
Way too much.
How did you get picked up by Adapt? Because obviously your friends, like, you've got a relationship with Cavan, and you've hung about with him before in Europe. So how did you end up getting a pair of skates or getting on the team? What happened there?
It all starts with Russell, actually, because Russell's like my one of my best friends. Well, yeah. So actually, it started after the conversation with Andy. I was just in a really bad mood and just bummed out, and he's just like, you need to try some good skates. And I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, I got this old pair of my pro skate that I didn't use much. He's like, I'm going to give you these. You're going to skate them. Like, I bet Peter would be down. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. Like, and you know, he brought him to the skate park, and I set him up, and dude, I'll be honest, I fucking hated them at first. Like,
they're weird. They're weird to get used to. If you don't, they're like intuition liners. If you just expect to put them on and it to feel normal, you're in for a shock, because they're unlike anything else in the market. So of course they're not going to feel normal.
And because I think Russell's foot was like, you know, accustomed to it and everything, it was super weird. So I kind of kept skating them, and I was figuring them out, but they just weren't working in terms of size. So it's funny, like 2 weeks later when we were at Winter Clash, Peter was one of those guys who came up to me and was like, oh, so are you the next Razor skate, like after Derek? And like, you know, me and Buck look at each other and just started laughing. And he's like, he just looks at me and just like, you know, with a Peter, you know, Peter's a man of very few words. The Peter's just like, should come skate some adapts. And I'm like, what? Like, he's like, yeah, that could work. You know, you and Russell out in California.
Yeah.
And
he doesn't give a shit about, you know, formalities. He'll tell you exactly what's on his mind. And I love that. It's great.
Like, okay. And I was like, you know what? Like, let me think about it. And, you know, I'll get back to you. So after Winter Clash, after powwow, I finally like just was like, you know what, I'll reach out. And I reached out, and like I wound up buying my first pair, which was the Rivales, the more flexible one. And I got those, and they were great. Like, out of the box, I could skate them, and you know, it worked. And I skated them for about a month, and then I decided like, okay, like this could definitely work for me. But they still like weren't amazing yet. But then Peter went through all the details with me, and he's like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that. And wound up like I needed to be on the carbon based skate. So then I got that pair, and it was like night and day. Like, now I feel like myself again, like 100%. I was able to do like everything, and you know, we made the decision, and and you know, I made the introduction, and then it's been a great relationship ever since. It's short. I've only been on like 6 months now, but like you said, Peter's direct and to the point. I love that about him. There's no bullshit, you know. And for someone like me who's 30, like I don't want bullshit anymore. So that's great.
There's definitely no bullshit up here. And one of the things he will appreciate is you're a workhorse. Like he'll know that if he gives you a product, you will do your best to promote it. And he likes skaters that keep in contact. Like obviously he doesn't want to babysit you, but he wants someone that's going to like keep him updated on like what you're doing or what you think of the products. Like he doesn't want someone that just says, "Oh, thanks for a pair of skates," and then he doesn't hear any feedback on that. Like he will take criticism.
He's always like tinkering. Like he's always just like he'll show me ideas and stuff like that. So it's awesome, like to just see what kind of is cooking up in his brain. And usually it's funny, like I have to talk to Olga to get like, for example, like they're making skates for my girlfriend right now, and it's like, okay, when are those going to be made? I got to ask Olga this and not Peter, because Peter's like in the workshop, he's the idea man. So, and he always
the
tells me,
worker
he's like,
elf, and she does the admin.
right. And he's like, I hate social media. He's like, don't text me. He's like, just FaceTime me. It's better. And I'm like, all right, like that's fair. So it's worked out well. And, that was basically that's like how it happened. And, Russell also was a big proponent. Like, I just remember the day, like, it was like I was skating him for like 2 weeks, and like Russell just texted me. He's like, dude, Peter wants you on the team. He's like all about you. Like he likes you. And I'm just like, okay, like that's cool. Like, and so that was like, I wasn't used to that kind of stuff. Like I always was told no on razors. Well, not no, but just always told like, I never was just told like, hey, that was awesome. Like I never got those responses. Like even with edits, like I would get pushback on edits sometimes and things like that. And it was just refreshing to just be valued, and, I appreciate everything they've done for me in these 6 months. It's been interesting because we can't really do what we want to do, but with everything going on, but we're still moving in a direction that's really positive, and I'm happy with that.
So what's your position on the team? Are you going to join the pro team, or has that been decided yet? What's Peter said to you?
Yeah, I'm on the pro team. Like I think some people are always confused about titles, but like Adapt only has pro. It's just us 5. It's like me, Sem, Julian, Russell, and Adrian. So very simple, very like, easy, which I like.
So I guess the next logical question is, what do you have to do to get a pro skate with Adapt?
Actually, it's already been discussed. And he's
that didn't
like,
take long.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, you'll get one. He's just like, it's just timing. Obviously there's a couple people ahead of me, and with Corona, it's hard for them to make the materials like to get, a pro skate made, because they usually do it differently from what the normal skates are. And so like, it's just going to be some time, and, I'm patient. I wasn't looking to join Adapt to get a pro skate. Like that was not my intention. My intention was I just wanted to be valued and join a brand that like wanted to push rollerblading in the right way. And I feel like that's the move I made. I'm 30 I'm 30 now, and like, if I'm going to be working towards a pro skate, and it seems kind of silly in a way if like that's my only motivation. Just listen. I remember listening to Mason's podcast. He was like, oh, if you're, over 30 and trying to be something in skating,
Mason wants you to quit already. You're done.
Yeah, that's cool. No, I mean, but honestly, like I took it a weird way at first, but then I realized kind of what he was saying. It's like, he's talking about the people that like will just jump ship to just get a pro product. And I'm not doing that. Like, I don't like, if Adapt doesn't want to give me a skate, I'm not upset. Like, I love the skates, and I like the direction that they're taking skating, not just with aggressive skating, but with free skating too. And so that, works well for me. And I'm really, happy with the situation I have. So all I ever wanted was just to be valued and just, appreciated for the work that I put in. And that's what I've gotten. So, it's super positive. And I actually just got new skates yesterday. So
I saw that.
Yeah.
What did you get?
Skate them in a little bit. Some Brutales. I can't show them yet because I haven't
Right.
I got to
Okay.
make sure that Peter is okay with it. He hasn't responded to me yet. They're
Right.
not like a prototype or anything. They're just a different color, but I just want to make sure that it's okay to show them. So,
Their skates are like bomb proof. I had a pair, and yeah, the only reason I got rid of them is because I broke my hip on them, and I just decided the skates were cursed. Because after you go through something like that, you can't skate that skate again. It's jinxed. So
yeah,
I had to get rid of it, and that was the only reason. But other than that, I thought I was destroying those things, and the sole plate after you grind it in a little bit just lasts forever and slides like hell, and the boots just didn't seem to damage. So if they're sending you a pair of skates every 6 months, like you can basically just give away the old pair and they'll feel like brand new to someone else. They'll be like, cool, skates for life.
well, that I did the introduction to Adapt on, like that pair is still in good shape. It's just that that pair was a slightly too big for me. Um, and that's one thing, just kind of like learning over time, is like the the sizing on Adapt is a little different. So like I had to figure that out on my own. And so like now I got like a half size smaller. So now I have like the true size to my foot. So I think it's going to be even better for me. So I'm really excited. And it's crazy. Like out here in San Diego, we have about like 15 people that skate Adapts. And I mean, some of these people have been on Adapts for like years and they will not skate any other skate. And like you said, like one of my friends, he's had the same boot for like 4 years and he just gets new sole plates and new frames and stuff and he loves them. So
Yeah,
it's awesome.
the sole plates are incredible. That's one of the things I
Yeah.
miss the most about. They just slide really fast. Yeah. So yeah, you're living in San Diego now. Who are you skating with out there? Like, who's your crew?
Right now it's mainly like Hayden Ball, Steve Steinmetz, my buddy Dave Sago. He's like another East Coast transplant. And then Russell, but Russell lately I haven't been skating with because he just had a little guy, a little one.
All
So
right, is that a kid? No way.
yeah. So he's been a little busy with that. But I did skate with him once 2 days ago, just for like a little session, just to give him a break from the little guy. So he's doing good. So that's like mainly the four people. I've also been meeting up with Dave Paine a bunch.
That is so
Um,
random. Yeah, that is very
yeah,
random.
and me and Dave have been working on a little project that won't be out till next year. But yeah, he's become like a good friend of mine. We've been hanging out a lot, and it's been super rad because like it's kind of like childhood dreams
Yeah,
coming
like
true.
that's so great. Like
Yeah.
any kid that grew up watching VGs, that's got to be an insane experience when the guy that made them is like, "Hey, do you want to go filming?" That must be a surreal, yeah, experience.
Dave's like, if I can describe him in like a couple words, he's the most positive filmer I've ever worked with. Like it's like he will not give up on a trick. Like I'll like for example, I was trying this trick, this like up ledge. I was trying to do a trick of it and I just couldn't. It took me like 80 tries. Every try he was with me. Like, you got it. You got it. Like like, sometimes filmers are just like, all right, you probably should just move on,
I'm losing my mind here. Please give
yeah,
up.
yeah. And Dave the whole time focused, like, get it, you got it, do this, you got it. And to me, that's a huge deal because like it makes you more motivated to go out and film because you just want to you have that vibe, and Dave's just amazing at it. And I can see like now why he's worked so well with so many different skaters throughout the years because like he just has that positive mindset. Like he knows what you're capable of. Like he knows that you can do like anything you want, and like he's just there to support it. So it's pretty cool.
That, yeah, it is pretty cool that he's got back into it because obviously he had other commitments for many years. Can is it going to be a full length, or is it basically is it going to involve other skaters, or is it just going to be you?
They're skaters. Like he's not just filming me.
Okay.
That's for sure. And it's gonna be like a full project. Like I can't comment on like exactly how it's gonna be because I have no idea, but it's a full length thing. Like it's
Right.
definitely he's not cutting any corners. Like it's gonna be full on VG style.
I won't pester you any more than that then. Is there any future plans with Adapt? Like, have they got any projects coming on that you're working on, or has everything been put on hold because of lockdown and coronavirus?
Originally, my pro intro was supposed to be filmed in Amsterdam, and that never happened. So I still have like a $600 voucher on Delta. So whenever I can travel, I can go back there. So yeah, I want to film something with Cabin, like even if it's just an edit now, like just to film something, because Cabin has developed like that style and technique for Adapt. It's just like it fits that mold, and I just want to make something, with that style, because like me filming on my own, like yeah, I can mold it to fit the Adapt style, but it's better when Cabin is filming everything. So yeah, as soon as I'm able to go,
they've got an aesthetic that they're going for now.
right.
Yeah.
So as soon as I'm able to go to Europe, that's like the first place I'm going to go to. Is we're trying to do like an Amsterdam thing, and then maybe even go to Zurich and skate with Deck. So, it just depends like on, the world right now.
It's positive though. It's something to look forward to, knowing that the brand has plans for you, and they're like, yeah, we're going to get you this flight. We're going to get you out here. We want you to, because it kind of sounds like for years you didn't have that like plan or motivation or incentive.
Yeah. And in terms of like Red Eye, we're going to drop a new line. We're going to drop like a little holiday line. And then next year we have a whole new line about to come out with a new rider. I won't say who, but new rider.
Well, you need someone to replace, oh God, I've forgotten his name.
Steven left.
Steven?
Doc left to.
Oh God, your mic does this annoying thing. If I talk, it cuts out yours. Can you hear me? I don't think it's your earphones. I think it's when I speak, it cuts out your mic. Right. Who left?
The White Wolf.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of him. I was thinking of oh God, Chad Hornish.
On the team, actually.
All right.
He was like, yeah. He was getting wheels from us. He was trying them out, but he didn't like them. He told us, which fair enough. Everyone's got, he wanted to skate something he liked, and so that's cool.
Right.
He just wasn't a fan. So, I was bummed. I would have loved to have Chad. He's fucking amazing. He's such a sick skater.
Really good. Yeah.
And he's like up and coming.
I saw he was on Conjure now, and I was like, oh, right. Guess it's not working out with, right. Okay.
He liked those wheels better, and that's totally understandable. I would be the same way. You want to skate something you like to skate. You don't want to skate a product that you're having issues with, and then you're trying to promote this product and it's not working. So
yeah,
totally understand why he chose Conjure.
So there's a new line coming, and you're not going to tell me who the next pro rider is that's going to get announced. That's what you're telling me.
We're 90. We're like, nah, not 90. I'd say like 70% sure that he's on board. We're working out details right now, but
that's the equivalent of going onto Facebook and being like, I'm so annoyed right now, and like your status, or like saying something like that, and then like saying, but don't DM me, don't, like, yeah, it's
true. Buck's probably gonna be mad that I said something, but whatever. I think it's good. I think it's good to like promote the brand a little bit. So but yeah, like we got for holiday, we have like a new profiled wheel, so that'll be cool. That should be out in like a few weeks. We'll show that. And then 50/50, we're working on some new stuff for next year. I can't explain in detail, but we got some new stuff.
50/50 they're developing a stacked team. You, Brando, Yandriel. Like Yandriel is, I think he's got the potential to go somewhere. Yeah.
To represent, dude.
He's got an interesting aesthetic. I like it. He's got like the kind of crazy like aesthetic.
When I was like coming up in Florida, he'd like meet up at sessions, and he'd be that guy that would just try like anything. Like he like would try to true top pour in this like gnarly drop rail, and just like eat so much shit and then just like bounce up and be like, I'm good, guys. Like, and so it's so sick to see him like develop now into like an amazing skater. Like his style's so good, and like his trick selection, like it's just, you can tell like in the last 2 years, like he's just really elevated his skating, and it's super sick to see.
Yeah, I've seen older sections of him, and then compared to his new stuff, I'm like, I even told him during his interview, I was like, "You're so much cleaner now." I was like, "You used to do hard tricks, but they were all over the place." I was like, "Now it's tidy as
Yeah.
hell." So yeah,
Yeah. No, it's good to see. Good to see him coming up, and yeah, like we're doing a lot, and like Law is just super supportive, and like he has like a 3D printer now, so like he'll make little renders and send it to us, and like we'll be like, oh, we can fix this, and it's just really cool because we can do stuff in like real time now, instead of like going to a factory and being like, hey, we want to do this modification, and then it takes 4 weeks to get the modification. We can actually look at a modification, do it in real time, and then figure out what we want to make and then send it to the factory. So some cool things coming from them for sure.
that is fair. Yeah, he does seem as if he's like putting in a lot of effort when it comes to blading, because he's obviously doing stuff with Compass, 50/50, Chroma, and it feels like he's trying his best to be like a positive influence in the industry, which is cool.
He's Jess is still involved. Like I shot a bunch of stuff with Jess for my frame, and that was another amazing thing. Like not just shooting with Dave. Like I had a day, I'm not kidding you, it was me skating, Jess steering forth, taking photos, and Dave Paine filming me. I like was sitting there and just about to like do a trick, and I'm just like, holy shit. Like
Yeah.
this is like everything I've ever wanted. Like
Is
it
this
was pretty surreal.
1998? Yeah,
Yeah,
you'd
yeah.
feel like you're in, I don't know, like the England pro team or something. You're like, this is insane.
And and those guys are like, they are 100% professionals. Like, I mean, I'm not kidding you. When my skates were, when I finally tightened them up, Jess would be ready to take the photo, and Dave was like ready to shoot, like right, like no questions asked. He's like, okay, like let's do it.
Plus, I
So
suppose, yeah, they're like adults with responsibilities as well. So they're like, let's do this. There's no messing around today. We're here to take care of business.
we got shit to do.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've got quite a few things coming up. Yeah. Any other projects you're working on that you can let us know about? You've got to have more stuff coming for Adapt, because you're always filming. Don't lie to me. I'm willing to bet that you've
I mean,
already started working on a new section.
I'm working on like something small with them right now, but
Yeah.
in terms of filming though, like my next project that will drop is like my promo for Red Eye, just for my wheel.
Right.
We all try to do promos for all of our wheels. It's kind of weird because I don't know how the promo is going to help sales because the wheels are already sold out, but but hey, but it's like it's like a contractual agreement we all have. You know, we have to do a promo for our wheel in order to get, it's like we get a percentage of our royalties once, like we get some of it up front, and then we get the rest of it on the back end once we finish the promo, which is really good. It's incentive based, so it keeps us working and like keeps us motivated and things like that. So I want to, not just for Red Eye, but also so I can get the back end of my royalties.
That seems fair. And yeah, at least it's a situation that benefits both parties, because they're like, well, we got our promo, so you get your money. Yeah, that makes sense. That's right. Even if the promo comes out after the wheels sold it's better late than never.
Expect them to sell out in 2 weeks. Luckily, that was because of coronavirus, because everyone just started buying products. Like we dropped the new wheels line, and like it's sold out like so fast. Like we couldn't even keep up with demand. Like we've even had issues with the manufacturer. They just can't keep up with our demand right now. So it's great, but also, super frustrating because you want to get more product out.
It's been an insane year in that. Who would have known that coronavirus would actually have, benefited the rollerblading industry? I don't think anyone could predict that.
Awesome.
I have got nothing else to ask you, and we have been doing this for an hour and a half now. So have you got anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
Thanks for doing this. Like, it was awesome talking with you. I hope everyone enjoys the listen, and stay safe, everybody. Mask up and hopefully like we can all see each other very soon.
Hopefully, yeah.
I really
Winter
hope
Clash
so.
2022.
Yeah, that's going to be, if that happens, it's going to be insanity.
It's going to be like a family reunion. People are going to
That's
be
going to
crying.
be like the most raging party ever is Winter Clash 2022.
Yeah.
So cool.
Well, until then, can't wait to see these new projects that you're working on, and Pro Skate in 2022, yeah? Winter Clash 2022 will announce the Jon Fromm Pro Skate for that.
We'll see.
Right. Have a good day.
Cool.
Speak
Thanks,
soon.
Dave. Have a good one, man. Yeah,
You
take
too.
care, man.
Bye.